I started at the U of A in November of 2016. So then I've been here for about a year and a half to date so far. Before I was at the U of A, I was at Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario. So that's where I did my undergraduate. I did my graduate studies there as well. So I started at university in 2005, graduated my undergrad in 2009, started off a master's program at Queen's University in structural engineering. Basically as soon as I finished my undergrad. As I went through that, I started transitioning into the PhD mode. So focusing more on the research side of things. That was sort of my passion, doing more experiments, more analysis, trying to get a better understanding of what's going on. So I stayed on for the PhD program. Currently, my research focus is on reinforced concrete structures. That's my main passion. So looking at various aspects of them. So looking at old structures, for instance, that are deteriorating, determining how strong they actually are. And if they are too weak for current day, how do we strengthen them to make them better, make them last longer? So that's one major focus. Another major element of my work is precast concrete as well. My PhD was all about insulated walls where you have 2 layers of concrete with insulation in the middle. I'm also interested in seeing how reinforced concrete plays with other materials. So if you have a composite structure where you have concrete on one side and steel on the other, how do the two of them interact? How do you make connections between the two? And one other major passion of mine is composite structures. So taking the steel that we had in existing structures, so many reinforced concrete structures are reinforced with steel, and replacing that steel with fiberglass or carbon fiber or some similar types of material, composite materials. So current hobbies, I have a few of them out there. So what I like to do, I like the outdoors, so I'm very passionate about hiking. One nice benefit about moving here was that I get access to the Rocky Mountains, and that has been a source of a lot of exciting hikes in the past year and a half or so. Back when I was growing up, I really enjoyed Lego and other construction type materials, so I had tons of it when I was growing up. I'd spend hours playing with these materials. Probably one of the major influences as to why I went to structural engineering. I would say yes, that is probably one of the major influences, because I'd experiment with it. I'd try adding new members here and taking members away from there and seeing how the structure changed in behavior. And lo and behold, now that's what I'm doing on a larger scale with real materials that we use in building construction. So it's kind of interesting to see that. So one interesting thing that happened within my undergraduate career is I got to link my passion for the outdoors with my passion for structural engineering. So how did I do this? Well, the way that I did this was I was part of the concrete canoe team at my school. So within this design team, we'd actually get together as a group and design and construct a full-size concrete canoe, and then compete in a national competition. So within this concrete canoe competition, we would actually race our canoes against other schools, and then they'd compare our times, they'd look at our final product. It was a very fun experience, and it got to combine my passion for canoeing with the idea of doing some research. So for instance, one year I was on the concrete design aspect of it, so I got to do trial batching in the lab, try different materials and different mixes, try to get the required strengths we need, try to get the required workability we needed. All this experience here was actually very instrumental in me wanting to pursue research as a career. All right, well, something that I wish I knew when I was a student that I do know a bit better now is just to enjoy yourself a little more. So there's times where you're an undergrad, you get stressed, or in grad school you get stressed, and it can become a very big challenge. And when you're in that state, everything becomes very much a state of, oh no, I can't get by. What do I do next? How do I enjoy myself? But what I try to do now is take a little bit of time for myself every day just to unwind and decompress. So whether that is through reading or going to the gym, for instance, those are good ways to relax and laugh a little bit every day. And those smiles were the things that made me get through schooling. As hard as it might seem, those little experiences there as trivial as they seemed at the time, were actually what helped me get through the best. The major thing that inspires me within my career, on the personal front at least, is I have a desire to understand more about how do things work. So that was an innate thing, and I think the many engineering students and engineers in practice, one major aspect of engineering is how do things work and how do we make things work. So in my personal feeling, I really want to understand how structures work. So when I was little, going out and seeing big bridges, big buildings, all these interesting structures, and in my mind I'm like, how the heck did they build that? How does it get maintained? How do they design this? It's very interesting to see all this in place. So what inspired me originally to go into my current field is just this childhood desire to understand how things work. And one great thing about doing, say, my experiments is I get a very clear idea of how reinforced concrete works, for instance. So when I was little, why do they put all that steel inside of that concrete? What is this all? How does it all interact with each other? Once I started seeing it and how it actually behaves in lab experiments, it really taught me what happens. And more importantly, I learned how one aspect worked, and it just opened up more and more questions. So what inspires me next is basically every time I do some research, I get more questions than the answers I manage to get out of it. So that's a problem in the sense where I'll never actually answer every question. But the good thing is it inspires me to find out more.